Okay, so we got more to get to with the corporal, but let's just back the truck up for a moment and talk about what we saw with Jeremy Townsend. The witness of the day, certainly, perhaps the most key witness of this trial. What did you think of his testimony? Hit us up on social media right now. Let us know. I want to bring in our legal analyst guest and ask her what she thinks. She is licensed in the state of Florida where this case is happening. You saw her in action representing Marsha Thompson. She won that trial. Criminal defense attorney Jessica Mishali on the show. Jessica, good morning. Tell us what you thought of Jeremy's testimony, please.
So I completely agree with you and your analysis. Everything we're saying, I thought that the cross-examination was sloppy, like you said. It was very, very weak. It is sort of a weak defense to begin with unless you have some pretty strong evidence. When you blame somebody else, you better have some pretty strong evidence that somebody else did it. I haven't seen any evidence at all, and they were not even able to crack him in his testimony, not even close.
Right, exactly, Jessica. And could I talk to you, please, about some of the practical things you go through with witnesses, last-minute ads, you know, all of that stuff, even if it's someone who may not initially be on the list, but, you know, they're able to be reached, subpoenaed before trial. So last week, we had the defense attorney who represents Lori Shaver on the show, and he was alluding to this defense, that she had this boyfriend at the time. The boyfriend was involved in this, and he was saying, we can't get a hold of him. We can't subpoena him. So I was stunned when I was talking with my colleague Matt Johnson last night, and we got word through Matt that Jeremy was coming on in and through the state of Florida. They would have to provide him notice of that, would they not? So he would have to know this is going to happen, and yet he still kind of went with that theory, didn't he, of it's Jeremy's fault. And he said that in the opening, and all of our jaws dropped, because up to that point he had been saying that it was the daughter who did it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's disastrous for the defense. When you change your defense at any time, it's a big problem. And you only do that if you're coming with extremely powerful evidence, as well as an explanation for why you were wrong to begin with, right? None of that is here, none of that whatsoever. What we're seeing is very weak. And I think what we're seeing is what defense attorneys sometimes have to use as like a last-ditch effort in their defense, where you're just trying to make things kind of sloppy and hope that the jury believes that they haven't gotten the whole story and things have been hidden from them. So the way he's questioning him just kind of leads to confusion. And sort of the way you saw the defendant actually speaking to the news saying she's not going to sure if she's going to testify or she's not, because there's things she can't say. I think they're, as a last-ditch effort, just sort of pushing forward this idea that, you know, there are secrets that nobody knows and nobody knows the story, but she's not guilty. But right. I think it's weak.
Right. I agree with you, Jessica. And I really like what you said there about how confusion might be what he's trying to do. Make it seem confusing, make it seem to be hard to understand. Yes, I think you're spot on with that. And tell me, do you think that they seem to be hanging their hat on the daughter and what she's going to be able to do for the defense? And I'm asking this question because some other information we were able to get through our Matt Johnson last night, Jessica, and him talking with the defense attorney and with Lori Shaver, is that he learned that the daughter's going to testify. And according to the defense attorney, what he told Matt is that the daughter's going to say that she saw Jeremy Townsend shoot Michael Shaver. And I'm wondering if this is going to present maybe an even bigger problem in this case with the contradictory testimony, because we know we have the flat-out denial, right? We just saw from Jeremy. I'm curious what you think, Jessica. What do you kind of read the tea leaves for us? What do you think this defense strategy is, and whether they are doing the smart legal strategy, in your opinion, calling the daughter?
I think, again, it's a weak move that you do when you have nothing else. So at any time, putting someone on the stand who was a small child at the time of any traumatic event is already a little bit ugly. And you have a case here where they initially blamed this little girl for actually pulling the trigger, right? They've now come away from that. But again, it's ugly, right? When you're watching this as a spectator, as a juror, and you see a woman blaming her child for something she's accused of, now she's turned it, now she's blaming her lover, now she's going to have her child up there on the stand, kind of putting this all in her child's hands as to what she's going to say and how she's going to say it. I think they're doing this because there is no other way to defend this defendant. They have to do something to defend her, so they're doing this because they have nothing else.
Such great insight as always from you, Jessica Mishali. Thank you. Stand by kindly, please. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, we'll go back in and see what the corporal has to share with this jury. Remember, the state's getting close to resting. They could rest today. Then it'll be the defense's turn. And will Lori Shaver testify? We'll be right back. Great to have you along with us this Thursday morning. I'm Julie Grant. Let's get a look at the cases we're tracking for you this hour. In Florida, day 4 underway in the murder trial for Lori Shaver. The state indicating they could rest later today. And also happening in Florida, we've got Donna Adelson back in court this morning in what the judge is calling the final pretrial hearing before her trial kicks off on Tuesday. Let's get you back into the buried in the backyard murder trial. The state continuing its case against Lori Shaver with a corporal who had a big hand in this investigation.
Yes, I do.
And what is that exhibit?
This is a selfie photo of Lori Shaver.